Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Salebox for the 21st of July 2013. My name is TotalBiscuit, giving you some of the hidden Steam deals. We have reached the end. We've had a repetition, as you can probably see. They've recycled some of the older deals, and all of the information on all of those games is in previous sale boxes. So if you do want to look for it, it's pretty easy to find. So, since this is the last day of the sale, it's probably a good idea to dig through the stuff that you were thinking of buying but were holding off on. So if you do see any last-minute flash deals, grab them now. If you see something at a good price that you think, yep, that's definitely not going any lower now, then you can give that a shot. Admittedly, there is the possibility that it'll come up in the community sale, so you might want to wait until just the last minute on that one. But what I would like to do is share with you 8 games that are extremely cheap and pretty good. Now, they're not the best games in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but for the price tag, they are very much worth having. Most of these games are so absurdly cheap that I'm talking about $1 or less. So just bear that in mind. So, let's kick off our hidden Steam deal sale box with Time Gentlemen, please. 90% off, that is 49 cents, 39 cents in Europe, and 29 pence. What is Time Gentlemen, please, you might ask? Well, it is a point-and-click adventure. It's by a company called Size 5 Games. And quite frankly, it does have a rather nice sense of humor. Some people might not be into it. I think this is going to be a title that some people really like and find the sense of humor amusing. And then there are other people that are going to turn around and say, well, this game was absolute rubbish. Why the hell did I waste my time with that? But the fact of the matter is that it's a very lovable game. It's got its own particular brand of humor and puzzles, and as a direct result, it's a good few hours of fun if you like point-and-click games. So yes, Time Gentlemen, please, and the Bean There, Dan That special edition double pack available for less than the cost of a packet of crisps. Razor 2 Hidden Skies, 90% off. That's $1, 89 cents in Europe, or 79 pence. I describe this as a colourful but fairly average vertical shmup. So that's the recommendation. If you're into that kind of stuff, you'll probably enjoy Razor Hidden Skies. It does have a reasonable amount of content for the price that is being offered there, and I found it reasonably fun. Critic reception on this title was certainly mixed, to say the least, and it's by no means forgiving. It throws a lot of bullets at you, it has a nasty lack of continues, it's tricky, there's no question, it is pretty damn tricky. But for that price, it's a pretty decent shmup, and I'm not gonna suggest that all of these games here are absolutely incredible for that price. They're just fun. So if you're looking for a shmup and you don't want to pay much for it, then Razor 2 Hidden Skies is worth looking at. NightSky, 90% off. That is $1, €1, and 59 pence. NightSky was a critically acclaimed title, and is a fairly short game, I have to say, but it's an enjoyable slice of action puzzling, It's got a nice atmosphere, it's got a great graphic style, a rather fantastic soundtrack, and it is just the right kind of size, I feel. Leaves you wanting more, but doesn't outstay its welcome. At its full price, it would have been difficult to recommend this. At that price, it most assuredly isn't, so feel free to go and check out NightSky if you're looking for some puzzle action. Fallout 2, 85% off. That is $1.49, €1.49, and £1.04. Oddly enough, it's the cheapest of the Fallout games on Steam. I'm not 100% sure why that is, because I maybe would have turned around and said, hey, you know what you should do? You should go and buy yourself a copy of the original, but as it turns out, that's twice the price for whatever reason. Fallout 2, you don't need to have played the original to actually enjoy, and to be fair, Fallout 2 is a flat-out better game than the original. God damn, I remember the original title, you could actually screw yourself in that game and not even realize until several hours later. It's not as good as Fallout 2, let's just put it that way. Fallout 2 is a classic CRPG. It absolutely holds up to this day as far as I'm concerned, especially if you download the necessary mods to up the resolution and so on and so forth. And I think if you haven't played it yet, you really need to see what you're missing. As with all of the older titles, I would strongly recommend the PCGamingWiki.com page for Fallout 2, which has a lot of information, including the high-resolution patch, the Restoration Project, which is an unofficial expansion, and a whole bunch of other really important fixes. So please do go check that out. Fallout 2 is one of the best RPGs we've ever had on PC, and you owe it to yourself to play it if you haven't. And if you have already, well, play the damn thing again. It's still great. Tidalis, 80% off. That is $1, €1, or 79 pence. Tidalis is a really fun puzzler, and by puzzler, I'm not talking about any kind of puzzle platforming nonsense. It's a straight up puzzle game. The notion of Tidalis is that you manipulate various blocks, and it's pretty much in the match 3 style. However, it has a rather interesting little mechanic called streams, which makes things an awful lot more entertaining. Let's be honest, match 3 games are getting a little bit samey these days. Great art style as well, and plenty of different modes. It's good. It's really, really good. And if you're looking for a little bit of casual puzzle action, then Tidalis should tide you over. There's also a demo, by the way, if for some reason you're feeling in two minds about, dropping $1. Rock of Ages, 80% off. That takes it down to $2, €2, or £1.39. It is the only historically accurate bowling simulator that is available on Steam right now. That should be a ringing endorsement. If it isn't, what it's about is rolling a very large rock through an obstacle course and hitting your opponent's fortress door. And once you break in there, you get to squish a famous historical figure. It's got a very Monty Python-esque look to it with cardboard cutouts, and it's also an attack and defense game where you try and make your route to the door as difficult as possible for the enemy to get their rolling rock through. It's really cool, it's very funny, it's very unique, and it is surprisingly fun to play. So I would suggest that you pick up Rock of Ages for next to nothing. Thomas Was Alone, 75% off, takes it down to $2.49, €2, and £1.49. Okay, so this is the most expensive thing on the list. Yeah, no, $2, right? God, it's crazy. But whatever the case, Thomas Was Alone is a really enjoyable puzzle platform experience, and I don't generally say that all that often. It's got a huge amount of charm to it, and the way that it actually tells the story and gives character to what in theory should be characterless is very impressive. It's very difficult to make me care about a colored block, but Thomas Was Alone is, up to this point, the only game that has managed to make me do that. That's a recommendation, isn't it? It's a good few hours of very enjoyable logic puzzling with a little bit of puzzle platforming put in there and excellent narrative. I would strongly recommend it. And finally, let's wrap up the Steam sale coverage with Cthulhu Saves the World, 67% off. That takes it to 98 cents, 65 euro cents, and 65 pence in the UK. This is an RPG in the classic 8-bit style, however, it features Cthulhu as the hero. It's by Zeboyd, who have created some great games, including Breath of Death, which is also heavily discounted, and they've also been responsible for the last 2 penny arcade adventure games. It is extremely fun, it's got some great mechanics, and it has some really awesome writing. It's a nice throwback RPG with a nice 8-bit graphic style, a good use of that look with solid pixel art, which I think is vitally important for making a game that looks old but doesn't look awful. Give it a bash, folks. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you, as a child, perhaps played games like Phantasy Star and, of course, the older Final Fantasy titles. Okay, folks, that wraps me up for the sale. Bear in mind you've got, I don't know, about 20 hours from when I uploaded this to actually get the rest of these deals. If you saw something on discount, well, now would be the time to get it. There will be flash sales going through towards the end as well as community choices, but now is probably about the time to pull the trigger. Of course, concludes another wallet-destroying Steam sale. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.